G'day everyone, you are watching the Sydney City Space Slugs coming to you live with another, or the other, top four elimination round of the Elimination League, the TTS League. Sorry, it's very early here in Australia and I'm coming to you live just by myself. So we've just kicked off. This is going to be a fantastic game against, between Kevin and Ace. And this will, of course, determine the other half of the finals, which we will also be bringing to you live sometime next week. We already know that the finals player will be, of course, Morgan Reed, having won the game that we streamed a few days ago. So this looks to be a really, really cool matchup. We've got some Dathomirians up against some Galactic Empire. Couldn't be more excited to bring this to you. We're just spawning in all of the objectives now, and I will bring up the rosters. So on the left here, we have, of course, Kevin with his Vader, Rex, Arfs, and Grand Inquisitor, Barriss, and Clone Commandos roster, which is really, really cool. And we'll dive into that in a moment. And then on the right, we have Ace with his really, really awesome Dathomirian roster as well. So basically, if you're watching and you're new here, thank you for joining in. Leave a comment or have a little chat to us. We're fairly interactive here in the slugs. We love to talk about the tactics and run through some of the plays. Just an all-in good time. I'm not entirely sure who's the first player. Let's have a look at the dice rolls. It looks like it will be Ace. So Ace in blue will be our first player. And we will have a look at the squads while we're deploying. So let's go over the Dathomirians first. Dathomirians are a really, really, really cool roster. They have some unbelievable and incredibly fun tactics and ways to play. And that, of course, mostly centers around the old Mother Talzin over here. So Mother Talzin's great. Essentially, she's a leader that allows another Dathomirian unit on the board to dash, not including herself. And that, of course, will be able to move Django and Savage Opress. Sorry, not Django. It'll, of course, allow us to move Maul and Savage Opress, and of course the Night Sisters as well. So some really, really good out of activation movement ability. She's got some fantastic displacement capacity as well with manipulating hand, and any Dathomirian character, after it does a damage to an enemy unit, that Dathomirian character may heal from life drain, which can be very, very clutch. But of course, her main sort of utility and power comes from the fact that every time a friendly unit is wounded, she can do a dash and make a 5 dice ranged attack, which is savage, combined with her amazing expertise tree and her combat tree having 2 pushes on the first 2 successes. So she's a really good character to run around displacing characters after you've reactively wounded someone. Just a lot of good capacity there. In terms of Django, I mean, we don't need to talk about him. He is a known quantity. He's absolutely fantastic. Also has displacement capacity. And the Mandalorian Super Commandos are a really, really good unit at wounding primary characters. So they'll be fantastic at hunting down the Vaders. They'll be fantastic at hunting down, what else we got? The Grand Inquisitors, etc. And just causing a ruckus in general. They're really tanky support unit. Just an all-round good time. We saw Lord Maul, not Darth Maul. He's not a Darth at this point. We saw Lord Maul used to excellent effect last week. He's sort of like Django. We know exactly what he does. He displaces. He's really fast. He does a ton of damage in combat. And of course, he's got some beautiful extra synergy here with Mother Talzin. Savage Opress, he is a really cool little tricky unit, especially combined with Mother Talzin. He's going to be able to dash twice with Mother Talzin's Obscuring Shadows and, of course, Savage Opress's Unwitting Brute. So he's got some really, really good ways to run around the board. He's got some fantastic damage capacity. He's really good at attacking primary characters as well. And he has some out of activation damage too. Out of combat action capacity to wound people with his Dark Fury. So it's sort of like Django in that you roll 5 dice, except you control as the Savage player when it happens in Savage's turn instead of reactively like Django. And of course, we've just got the nice Night Sisters. They're good at shooting. They're good at running around with some jumps and hunkers, and they like to stay away from the action. So I can assume with what I'm seeing here from Ace, we're going to see an early centerboard capture attempt with the Mandalorian Super Commandos, while the Night Sister Acolytes are going to be the sort of the backfield runners, and then we'll have Lord Maul, Talzin, and Savage to really support the Mandalorian Super Commandos up front, while Django does a lot of displacement work. So really solid roster. I think the fact that we've got 3 potential characters that have displacement is going to go a long way. I mean, Talzin manipulating hand, Django Fett capture wire, and Lord Maul there is no way to run. All 3 good abilities. All right, so let's have a look what we've got over here. Really lovely, and I'm very excited to see Barriss Offee. I really like her, but let's go into the roster. This is tried and true. Darth Vader, Jedi Hunter, fantastic. We've seen Morgan use him to great effect over the last few weeks in the finals. So he's going to be able to give everyone on the team some extra dice capacity if they take some damage. So yeah, I mean, that's what he does. He gets in, he does a lot of damage up front. He allows his team to do more damage in combat, and he's just a general menace. He's incredibly fast, etc. Captain Rex is going to be able to be used to move Darth Vader up the field. Captain Rex is fantastic. He's also going to be able to attack after the ARF troopers have made an attack and hand out some hunker tokens and some heals. So he's a big playmaker. I really like Rex when used to great effect, and I can't wait to see what happens here. The ARF troopers are going to be specifically used to give exposed tokens out when Darth Vader, Rex, or Barriss Offee make an attack, because they're all Galactic Republic units. Other than that, they're going to probably sit on some back points and try and stay out of the action, because they do not like getting wounded, as then it will cost more force for the coordinated fire. Grand Inquisitor is not a character that we've seen on the stream before, I don't think. And it's going to be some really nice synergy between Vader here. So essentially, when an allied Inquisitorious character wounds an enemy unit, after the effect is resolved, one allied Inquisitorious character may heal 2. And then, if you wounded a Force user, refresh 2 Force. So there's a lot of Force users on the other side of the board. We've got Talzin, we've got Maul, and we've also got Savage. So a lot of capacity for these triggers to happen, and when combined with Vader, it circumvents the 2 damage that you take if an Inquisitorious character gets a wound, because Vader can make sure that you take 2 damage in combat, you roll 3 extra dice. If you wound someone, then you heal the damage off immediately, which is fantastic. And it isn't limited to the Inquisitorious character that's doing the wounding. You can just have any Inquisitorious character on the board do the healing. Barriss Offee, really good character, very force hungry, but there's not a lot of force usage in Kevin's roster, so we will probably be able to see a lot of utility from her. She's basically a mini Asajj. She's got force push, she's got force speed, and she's got slip away, which all make her incredibly tricky. And she's got an awesome combat tree as well, in 4 pushes and some reposition capacity. So really good there. I think she'll probably be taking some damage to roll extra dice to get all the way down her tree in an attempt to use her force push for free. And I don't think we've seen Fifth Brother on the table either. Just a really solid 4-threat unit. He has displacement, he has jumps, he can hand out exposes, just like the ARFs can, except from range 4, when allied Inquisitorious units are attacking. He has protection and steadfast, and he will, if a objective is tied, will, because of Inquisitorial mandate, essentially take the objective for himself. So some really interesting rosters there, and some lovely theme as well. We've got some Dathomirians against some Empire, as I said before, or in the case of Rex and the ARFs, what becomes the Empire. And yeah, let's have a think. So as we said, Ace is the first player, and we had the Mother Talzin box set up first. It looks like we don't want Darth Vader. Sorry, we don't want the Grand Inquisitor up against Mother Talzin. So instead, we put Grand Inquisitor's roster over here, and then promptly had Lord Maul drop on the opposite side, which means Darth Vader is going to be placed over here. And I think that's wise. Grand Inquisitor, he does have the capacity to move himself, very much like Count Dooku. So you know who we are. He's essentially going to move a secondary character or a supporting character that's Inquisitorious, which is just going to be the fifth brother in this capacity. And then he can also dash. So having Mother Talzin on the board, essentially being able to run around and displace him once Grand Inquisitor does some wounding, is going to really, I think, hurt his mobility, simply because he is quite a slow character. So I think that's a wise choice in having the Grand Inquisitor face off against Maul. The only worry that I have is that Grand Inquisitor has a fantastic expertise tree and is quite fragile at only 9 health. So Maul will be able to expose him sort of willy-nilly, but I think Ace has sort of engineered his strike team that expose is going to be a thing no matter where you go. You know, you've got the Night Sisters handing out expose for Dathomirians with coordinated fire, and you've also got Maul handing out expose with there is no way to run. But if you look at the other side, I think it's Gemso for the Grand Inquisitor. He's got just a beautiful expertise tree, and handing him an expose token to shut that down is quite a savage experience. All right, guys, we have our first struggle being pulled. It is Steal the Secret Plans, and with that, I am going to start the timer. And let's wish both of these players the best of luck. And yeah, there we go. 2-hour timer. We've got the Mandalorian Super Commandos being pulled first for Ace. So this is what I said, guys. I think what we'll have is the Mandalorian Super Commandos basically run up into the middle of the field. Unfortunately, we had this Mandalorian Super Commando capturing the center objective here. So we won't be able to cap 3. So I think, Ace is going to have to make the decision as to what to do here, if he leaves that Mandalorian Super Commando on the back, or if he rushes both up into the middle to take objectives. Now, usually we see players a little bit reluctant, understandably, to put their characters up into the center so early, because especially, across the table, you got Darth Vader, who's adept at one-shotting support units. But there's some really nice line-of-sight blocking terrain here in the middle, which is going to make it a little bit harder for Darth Vader to come in and wound characters. So a fine initial deployment here and run, and so that's essentially what we are seeing here, and we've seen 2 objectives being captured. And thank you so much, Aman, for the sub with Prime. Very, very much appreciated. Okay, so what we've got here is Barriss Offee being pulled and promptly reserved, and I think that's a wise choice. Barriss Offee I see as a bit of a playmaker, much like a Sarge, and you don't mind early drawing any other character here, I don't think, such as the Arfs, which is a fantastic draw. So they're basically going to hover around the back, take some objectives, and you can probably throw this ARF up into the middle to contest the middle and keep him safe behind the wall here, the line of sight blocking terrain. But the ARFs, they're going to get wounded. I mean, it's just almost a guarantee at this point, especially with Maul and with Mother Talzin on the other side of the table. Both of them do some fantastic damage and hand out some really good conditions. So I think, it is a point-scoring game. I would probably put them up the front, but at maximum of range 2 from the middle points, just to make it a little bit harder for my opponent to reach them. So we're seeing a defensive maneuver, and I would assume that we're going to see a take cover being used as well. But let's just see what happens. So people in the chat, thanks so much for joining us. What do you guys think of the game? Who are you rooting for? What do we want to see in the final? I note that Aman is going to be joining me for the final commentary. So Aman, what would you like to essentially commentate the most? Some Dathomirians, or would you like to commentate over some bounty hunter Galactic Empire shenanigans. It is worth noting, just while this final move is completed, that Morgan is list locked into Darth Vader and Count Dooku in the final, or something and Count Dooku in the final. And should Kevin win, he will be list locked into Vader and Cad Bane in the final, which will be quite a cool little matchup as well, because it's two very, very different styles of Vader play. But Ace of Spades won't be locked into anything because he's played all of his rosters in the Premier League. Okay, so it looks like, we've actually taken a fairly aggressive route here with the ARF Trooper. Instead of trying to hide behind this building, we've actually seen him go up into the middle. It is a wise play, in terms of scoring points, but an early pull from Maul will essentially spell doom for the ARF Troopers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Kevin's squad is pretty flush with force, and the ARFs basically exist to come in and try and expose things. So I can understand why, and you're actually taking an objective off your opponent instead of sort of just competing and taking two. So it will make Ace's force capacity a little bit, objective capacity a little bit weaker here. I'm not entirely sure who we shot at, but we did have a shot, and it wasn't a particularly good shot. So no damage would have gone in. A lot of dice. Maybe it was a Mandalorian, but we will see in a moment. So we've had 2 points scored there, and we're just about to roll, to draw the next character. Let's have a think. I'm just going to try and find out who it was that we shot. It might have been Django, but I do not know. I think it was Django, to try and get an early pin on him from the ARF Troopers, which is a really nice little cheeky play. And it looks like we have drawn the Shatterpoint for Ace. And instead of shuffling it back in or reserving it, we are going to keep it. We are seeing a dash, which can only make me think we've had Mother Talzin being pulled. So, of course, she's using Obscuring Shadows, Mother Talzin being chosen to be the Shatterpoint activation. So we've had Obscuring Shadows being used. She's chosen the Night Sister Acolyte sister to come up into here. And, of course, that makes sense to try and trigger Coordinated Fire Expose. We've seen Talzin come in. I can only imagine she's going to try and shoot this ARF Trooper and then take this objective. But looks like we're also seeing 2 force being spent or about to be spent for a manipulating hand. So that's a really good play. We are going to get the objective back because, of course, this Mandalorian Super Commando will still contest it. The ARF Trooper is now engaged and, sorely in enemy territory here, which will make it an easy target. Mother Talzin will be able to move on up to this objective in the bottom right here and claim it for 3. So let's have a look. Let us have a look. Not a fantastic roll at all from Talzin, actually. So this ARF Trooper might get away scot-free. I think that'll be just 1 success after the... Yeah, so we get it's 3 expertise. So 1 crit, 2 hits. But it'll still only be 1 success because 3 expertise will turn into 2 blocks. So that's not a great roll. That's not what Mother Talzin was looking for sure. However, it is what it is. The ARF Troopers are not going to get an expose. Sorry, their hunker token that's been stripped off because of their engagement. And it looks like we're just going to have a push and 2 damage. And I don't think there's a way for Mother Talzin to actually get this objective in the center here. But alas, she can, she's still done a good job in terms of taking the objective in the center back at no consequence to Ace. And now we've really put some pressure on those ARF Troopers. But once those ARF Troopers get wounded, pulling them closer into enemy lines just means that every character that can be exposed will be exposed with the Force. So, it swings in roundabouts. Of course, we're going to score 2. Both players are going to get a momentum for the landing in the middle there, and we will move on to Kevin's turn. Looks like we've pulled Captain Rex. So Captain Rex will basically choose to move himself or Vader or one of the ARF Troopers, would be potentially interesting to move the ARF trooper that just got moved by obscuring shadows back into the center. That might be a nifty little play. I found in my own experience that Darth Vader doesn't really need to have any movement support because he's got a double full advance. So be interesting to see if that is a play that Kevin decides to go for. It would probably be the one that I go for, considering that this ingress point I think is in range of a short dash, which would put the ARF trooper back in the center, and of course taking the objective back, which would undo the manipulating hand and be a pretty big blow actually. There is the potential though that that Kevin doesn't want to move the ARF trooper out of engagement with the super commandos because of no mercy, which means that the ARF troopers would take an additional 2 damage. But where they are, they're almost certainly going to die anyway, or be wounded, I should say. So I think I would have liked to have seen those ARF troopers, or that specific ARF trooper here, get dashed back, get a hunker token, land back up there, and then we could have a 3-point swing for Kevin, because Rex would have still been able to do a move, an attack, and either a defensive maneuver or a take cover or something similar after he's done a whole bunch of shots, because Rex has a really good displacement combat tree. He's got heals, he's got pushes, so there's every chance that he actually could have done a big attack, pushed himself up, and actually got the heals off his tree to heal the 2 damage off the ARF troopers anyway. But alas, here we are. So what we've had a get a move on soldier being triggered on Rex himself, which is just there. And then we've also had a defensive maneuver being triggered on Rex, and now we probably can get a focus shot into Talzin, which is exactly what's happened. So focus shot, a pretty good roll. We've got 2 hits, 3 crits from Rex, including the expertise tree, and looks like we've got 4 blocks into or from Talzin. So the 3 crits will go through, and this is where you start doing the pushes. This is where you start doing the heals that we could have gotten onto those ARFs. Bear with me, I'm about to sneeze. That could have been quite detrimental to Ace's playstyle. We could have had a 3-point swing back in favor of Kevin. But that's okay. I understand the want and the need to play with the ARFs cautiously and potentially get a focus shot into Talzin. And it did pay off. We got some nice conditions on her. So I can assume that we went into the top route of Rex's tree, dealing 5 damage and an expose. So that's making Mother Talzin relatively fragile now. She's in threat of getting wounded by Vader, and of course by basically any ranged attack now with the expertise tree gone, thanks to the expose. So let's have a look. We've got Maul being pulled after we've had Savage put into reserve. So let's see what we can do. So Maul's an interesting one, and this is sort of where Kevin not deciding to move the ARF troopers back up into the center with Maul could actually pay dividends for him. In terms of Maul is just going to want to probably run up and have a crack at that ARF trooper, and not maybe position himself in the center. Alternatively, what we could be seeing here is a move with Maul, and then we are going to be going for a ranged attack into the ARF trooper, hoping to get the second tile reposition, which is a good move to be able to put him into that second objective as well. And looks like we are going to be going for the ranged attack, and we are also going to be putting an exposed token onto the ARF trooper from the coordinated fire, thanks to the fact that Maul, of course, is a Dathomirian. So 7 dice rolling into this ARF trooper, and we can see, I think Maul's done a really good job there, as have the ARF troopers. So looks like it'll be 6 total, going down by 3. So 3 successes, which is of course what Maul needs. I think that's also a wounded ARF troopers as well, because he's got a crit in there and 3 successes, so that's 5 damage. Yep. So that should be more than enough to wound the ARF trooper, which is a nice little play. So it's going to give Ace a momentum. and of course 3 points because the reposition is going to be able to get Maul into the center. And no resources are being spent. So it looks like Maul only took 1 damage from his Your Hatred Makes You Powerful. Sorry, wrong character. By Sustained by Rage. So he's basically, instead of spending Force tokens, going to be taking damage instead. We probably could get some heals. I think he got far enough down his tree, or is that 4 down? It is 4 down. Okay, so ignore me. He got 3 down the tree, probably putting some conditions on the ARF troopers and getting a reposition into the center, scoring him a momentum and 3, which will put it slightly on the side of Ace. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. We've got a couple people, or a few people I should say, it's more than a couple, in the stream chat. So, who are we rooting for? We're rooting for the Galactic Empire, or we're rooting for the Dathomirians? And who do we want to see play up against Morgan in the final? If you guys want anything specific, let me know. I'm definitely welcome to feedback. I'm trying to make these streams as good as they can be, but we're a little bit stifled until we get a stream overlay. But of course, the good IT capable people are working on that, while I just sit back and sort of request it because I have 0 IT experience myself. But yeah. Let us know who you guys want. Comment on some plays if you'd like as well. I'm more than happy to hear what you guys think. Okay, so what we had there was Maul running up. Not entirely sure how he did the 3rd move there to get on top. There might be a hidden little ingress point somewhere here. Don't entirely know. Oh, I see what we did. Okay, so the first move that Maul did was a Force Speed. And then the second move that Maul did was a reposition off of his combat tree. And then the third move he did was an actual climb. So, understood. So 3 in a momentum for Ace. And let's see who we pull. We're deciding not to pull Barriss Offee just yet. And the 5th brother is a good pull indeed. We're just going to be able to take that point off Maul if we want. Or potentially... move in and cause a ruckus with these Mandalorian super commandos instead. So we'll see what happens. I probably would send the 5th brother up against Maul. He's nice and tanky. He doesn't really care about his expertise tree, and instead he can just take that take that objective off Maul and cause a bit of a ruckus over there, especially with his displacement capacity and his jumps, etc. So he can also do a fair bit of damage to basically try and keep Maul on low health to disincentivize Maul from taking damage to get all of his force triggers. Because of Sustained by Rage, of course, if you make sure that Maul only has 1 or 2 damage left, then of course he's not going to be able to spend the force willy-nilly, because he's going to have to think about, of course, how damaged he is. So we're having a thought with Kevin. I think we're just deciding the best way to get about the point. I think just an advance and a jump should suffice to get not only the point but also get 5th brother into combat range here. And let's have a look at what we're going to expect from the 5th brother in combat. There's no way to expose Maul first. So all of these Inquisitors max out at 8 damage, including expertise. So, definitely enough to get Maul where he needs to, where you want him in terms of low on health. But Maul also has a fantastic expertise tree as well. It looks like we're actually not going to be able to get into combat range with Maul. So I think what we're deciding to do instead is move into the center, utilize this expertise, utilize this ladder, this ingress point, and come up into the center, which is fine. We don't actually need to go up, but we are, just because, no, he wouldn't be contesting anyway, but yeah. So we're going into the center, taking that objective, which is an interesting play. I'd be interested to see why we've decided to go there and not against Maul, noting that in the second struggle, the center objective is actually never active, whereas these side ones definitely are. But alas, here we are. So I think what we're deciding to do is the second action with the fifth brother here. We've had a move, we've had a forced jump, and of course we could see a take cover out of ranged range from Maul. So we could take cover backwards a little bit to not only stay out of range of Maul, but maybe skim the line between Maul and Mother Talzin there as well. Which will, of course, take the center objective and be a 3-point swing for Kevin back into his direction. Okay, so edging closer and closer for Kevin to the W, and we've seen the Night Sisters. So the Night Sisters can, of course, just go up into the center to take this objective off of the fifth brother, but they will have to put both bodies on the point, thanks to Inquisitorial Mandate. So fifth brother's a really good unit at forcing sort of more bodies than your opponent might normally want onto an objective. But of course, the quote unquote weakness of Inquisitorial Mandate would be that it does come in the package of a single character unit. And of course, he can be easily outnumbered as well. But he's nice and tanky. These Night Sisters probably won't have much luck in actually wounding him, considering they don't really have any displacement capacity. I think they've got a 1 push, but it's fairly deep down their tree. I lie. It's only 2 down their tree, but of course they've only got 1 push, which won't be enough to do anything to the fifth brother because he is protected and steadfast while he's contesting objectives, which is savage. So, yeah, they're not going to be able to do much to him, but what we're seeing here is a cheeky little play. We're seeing one Night Sister engage the fifth brother, which means that the other Night Sister will get a lot of extra dice in combat. So we've also seen fifth brother's hunker token being taken off of him, and I think we're going to start with the melee Night Sister first, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, so it's just going to be 2-3 blocks from the Inquisitor, and 3 expertise is 2 hits, so it's actually going to be no damage, and we're going to go straight into the ranged one, which is getting a lot of extra dice because of the fact that the other Night Sister is engaging it. 4 blocks, but 4 crits. That's a beautiful roll from the Night Sisters with a bunch of expertise. So it's going to be, I think, 7 successes total. 7 successes total, which will be basically just the crits going through into the Inquisitor. So let's see what we decide to do here. I think exposing is good. There's nothing to heal. So just probably going to be doing a condition spread and some damage. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage, down to 4 because of protection. There won't be a push because of steadfast, but there will be a pin and an expose, which is decent enough. And we're seeing the jump there off the combat tree to be able to take the objective off of the Inquisitor, which is a 3-point swing back to ace. Those Night Sisters being in the center is of course a problem because they are very, very fragile. But you've got a linebacker in Mother Talzin being able to dash and make some ranged attacks in response. Okay, so really cool play there, and we will see how Kevin responds. I wonder if it's time for Barriss. We do have her cheekily in reserve, but noting that we are quite force flush, and we still have, let's see what activations we've still got to go. So, Rex is gone, Vader only needs 1 force, Grand Inquisitor needs 0 force, and Barriss Offee needs probably 3. Unless she can get fully down her tree, which is a dangerous request. But yeah, we probably want to see... We could go with Barriss. I mean, she could force speed, and then she could climb, and then she could swing into Darth Maul. I'm not actually sure if she'll have the range there, really, because Maul is positioned quite far back from that objective. He might not actually be able to get Barriss in range. But she could, of course, just move and force push Darth Maul, which will get him off the point and get her the point, and it will only cost 2 force tokens there. And looks like we are going to go with Barriss. We're going to climb her first, and then move, and then we are going to force speed, it seems, which is a good shout. So while that happens, yep, we're going with Barris. So I'm not sure who we're going to go for. What we could actually see is a cheeky move with Barris. We could push one of the Night Sisters off the center objective with force push, which would win the center point back in favor of Kevin. And then potentially we could see a climb to see if we can get Maul in range, and then use Barris Offie's fantastic combat tree, which would be really, really good because she should be able to get enough pushes to push Maul off of the center objective. So what do we think about that play, folks? I think it's pretty saucy. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be going for. G'day Wargaming Dad, thank you for joining us. Who are we rooting for? And what do we want to see in the finals? And for all of those who have joined us this morning, or my morning, please let us know. And please let us know if you're enjoying the stream and what feedback you might have or what you want me to focus on in game. I just want to make sure that we're doing the best job that we can, of course. And excuse some tired husk in my voice. It is 4:30 in the morning here. I've decided to get up to stream because we can't miss a game. Can't miss a game of the elimination rounds, of course. Especially, this will be the first opportunity for us to play an exclusively or watch an exclusively international game. These players, of course, being from America and the UK, respectively. Okay, so we're actually just putting Barris Offie in the center. So instead of trying to get multiple points here with a potential force push on a Night Sister and an attack into Maul, we're instead going to just guarantee the point back to Ace. And we're probably going to just try and put some combat damage into the Night Sisters. No, we've just decided to go straight for the points. Looks like not entirely sure what we did there, but I think we just did a move or a take cover and then a move just to keep the force points flush there. Okay, so we've pulled Django. And Django is, of course, going to be able to deal with, I say deal with Rex, but move and potentially pull the fifth brother off this point to give the, So what we're thinking of here, I would say, is, of course, an attack at ranged into fifth brother, or potentially getting into range 3 of the fifth brother, using capture wire to pull him off of the center objective, giving it back to Ace because he will have 2 Night Sisters to 1 Barris Offie, and then potentially trying to deal with Rex. My feeling is that a potential shot into Rex might be better here, and getting into range 3 of the fifth brother for the capture wire pull would be the play, just to put some bodies on the center objective there, and of course take the this very center objective off of Kevin. Interesting to see so many characters being placed around this center objective, considering that it's not active in the second struggle, but we'll see how that plays out. And the Wargaming Dad picking sides. He's after Ace, a victory from Ace, also being from the UK, and that is absolutely fair enough. So not a great Django roll, only 2 successes there because the expertise will convert into a crit, and I assume we are shooting into the Inquisitor to try and put some damage out. So 2 successes for Django is 3 damage and a strain. And yep, there it is. So we've got a pretty wounded fifth brother. I don't think he'll be exposed anymore thanks to the fact that he just rolled dice, but a pinned and a strained fifth brother is an unhappy fifth brother. And then what we're seeing is a capture wire being triggered on Rex to pull him into the center and off the objective, which will be winning that point for Ace. So some interesting plays here, guys. The use of the displacement characters is always really good. And Django just, now he's going to be in a place where he can start threatening some not so fast abilities as well. But of course, more importantly, we've scored 3 points back to Ace. So we haven't actually broken that 3-point cycle yet. So we're due for a swing turn here, I would say. And we've pulled the Grand Inquisitor, who generally is not the man you want to see when you're looking for a swing turn. So I'll be interested in seeing if Kevin decides to reserve him and go for Vader, who of course will be able to double move and punch Rex here in the middle. Sorry, not Rex, Django, who is, of course, a clone. So I was sort of right. And we would be able to pay a force to coordinated fire and expose onto Django to make sure that Vader can get as far down his tree as possible. So I wonder if that's what we decide to do here. We are thinking about it. And no, we're going to keep the Grand Inquisitor, I think. So what we could do is... Yeah, that's the problem with the Grand Inquisitor. Such a cool character, but a relatively slow character. Not a lot he can do at ranged either, because he's got limited dice. But he's more there for the heals and the playmakers from the Inquisitors. So I'll be interested to see where he gets placed. Interested to see where he gets placed indeed. We're thinking about it. Might just be doing some maneuvers here or some range measurements. I would like to think... I wonder if we do... I feel like maybe we put him in reserve and just go ham with Vader. That would swing you... It would only give you 3 points and you're looking for the 4, I guess, which isn't possible. But looks like we've put him in and we are pulling the big dog himself. So this is where we go with a move, and then we also have a Vader's Fury, but we won't have enough to pull a coordinated fire onto Django, but we will have enough to probably just get enough pushes off of Vader's tree to displace Django anyway. So here comes the Vader's Fury. If we do get 3 successes on Vader, it will be 7 damage total. So I think 4 successes will be enough to wound Django. But then, of course, you'll have Mother Talzin doing a revenge shot. So I think in a perfect world here, what you want is actually Vader just to get enough successes down the tree to displace Django instead of actually wounding Django, because that will allow Mother Talzin to do a dash and, of course, a retaliatory attack, which will probably end up in displacing Vader as well, because he's not the most tanky character in the world. So there's the Vader's Fury move, guys, and we're about to see a whole bunch of dice being put into Django. I don't think you take damage here, considering the fact that you don't actually want to wound Django, because you don't want to be pushed off that objective, but we are going for it anyway. So let's do it. Let's see how many dice we get into poor Django. So it'll be a 10 dice Vader attack, I believe. Yep, into 5 dice. No exposed though, because we don't have enough force, and that is a beautiful Django block. That's going to be 4 defense, and not a good Vader roll at all. So 3 expertise, I think, is 2 crits. 2 crits and a hit. So we've got 2 crits and 3 hits going through. So it's just going to be 2 crits altogether, thanks to Django's Beskar armor. And let's see how many pushes we can get. Just 1. So we're actually probably not going to be able to take the point off of Django. Oh no, the 1 is enough. Excuse me. We are also following up just to potentially put Vader in engagement with Mother Talzin, which is, I think, definitely the best thing to do here. Very much like Cad Bane, making sure that you've got a character engaged or threatening engagement with Mother Talzin is, I think, fantastic to do at all times, because it really mitigates where Mother Talzin can go with Wrath of the Great Mother. So I think that's a good play. We got what we wanted anyway. I wouldn't have taken the 2 damage there, but then we also probably wouldn't have gotten what we needed, considering that we rolled 5 fails. Oh no, we would have gotten the 2 crits anyway because of expertise. Yeah, so I think the damage was a bit of a wasted opportunity there, or missed up. It's not a missed opportunity, but yeah, probably redundant there. And we'll see what we pull in response. So looks like we've pulled the actual Mother Talzin, having her previously activated by manipulating hand. We're deciding to move Savage Press with obscuring shadows, and then of course we'll see what Mother Talzin can do. She doesn't like attacking in combat, because she does, but I think Great Mother is her is the combat tree where she excels, which is a really, really strong combat tree. And then it's, of course, the combat tree that she prefers the most to trigger Wrath of the Great Mother. So I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a take cover out of combat here, and maybe a shot, and then following up into objective range with the pushes that she has. But of course, if Vader is out and about, then potentially flipping into Wrath is better because she gets 6 dice in combat defense. So we're going to see some attacks into Vader to see if we can get him off the point. 7 into 5. It looks like we didn't flip Vader's stance into his defensive side. And some weak source rolls all round, I have to say. Some good blocks from both players, but some terrible attack rolls from both players. But Mother Talzin has a really good expertise tree, so I think that'll just be 1 crit at the end. Yeah, 1 crit and a damage. So not even a displacement. And that's where I think the Great Mother would have been better, because 1 success would, of course, equal a push, which would push Darth Vader off of the center objective there. Off of the objective in question. Out of engagement. There's a few things that are good there. Out of engagement, off the center objective, and, Mother actually takes the objective. So we're actually only going to see 2 points being scored. 2 points being scored by Ace, which will give both players a momentum, and that sort of is the beginning of that break the cycle sort of play, and we'll see what happens. So who have we pulled? We've pulled Shatterpoint, which is pretty interesting. We could actually just reactivate Vader here and go ham. We could go for Barriss as well, but we've got no force, so I'll be interested to see what we do decide to activate. We've got quite a few people in the stream now, which is really exciting. Let us know, guys. We just pulled Shatterpoint for Kevin. Who are we going to go with? We could go with Vader, and this point it actually wouldn't be a bad thing because you could decide to get the wound on Jango, and because Wrath of the Great Mother would force Mother Talzin to actually move out of engagement to get the shot, you'd probably end up still maintaining the point and getting the wound anyway, which would go for which would allow a center point being taken. We could also see maybe we've got no force, so there's not much we can do in terms of taking the point off of Maul here. So I think we just have to maintain the 3 points that we have on the board already, and see what to go. Champagne 1992 rogue choice with GI. It is. We've got a few Inquisitorious characters here to allow the movement and the play makes with his dashes, but yeah, he's been stuck up the back for a while. Not entirely sure what to do. I think because he's quite slow. This is Vader. I'm just going to check. It is 10 dice, so he would have taken another 2 damage, and I assume that we went into Jango and we rolled. Nope, this would be Mother Talzin because it was 6 dice in combat, and we rolled 5 fails and 1 expertise. So that is not good. That's going to be a wounded Mother Talzin. Now, of course, Mother Talzin won't be able to get her Wrath of the Great Mother on herself because it must be another allied unit, which is pretty savage, which is meaning that, we're going to get a momentum and 3. And of course, we'll see a trigger from Grand Inquisitor, which is going to be clearly you're a poor student. So any allied Inquisitorious character can refresh 2, and then if they're a Force user that was wounded, then we can refresh 2 Force as well. And Mother Talzin, of course, being a Force user, considering she is a dark side Force user in the Dathomirian magics, which is pretty cool. An unusual way of accessing the Force, but they still can access the Force. And of course, Grand Inquisitor can reap the rewards of that. So 2 Force refresh, and we have Grand Inquisitor in the back, which is unfortunate because Grand Inquisitor is not going to be able to do much with the Force. He could, of course, use clearly you're a poor student. The Temple Records. No, it's too early in the morning. Secrets Uncovered. So he could strip a objective off of a character, which we could see over here on Maul, potentially. We could have a move, we could have a climb to contest this objective up here, and then we could also strip control of it, which would mean Ace wouldn't have control of it in his next turn, which I think is what we should do. If we've got the Force, I mean, we may as well, right? So we're just seeing Vader go all the way down his tree there. He got probably 6 successes. What did we get? yeah, we got 5 crits, 2 hits, which will be 7 total, reduced by 1. So yeah, would have 6 successes. So Vader can do all of the things that he wants, really pushing Mother Talzin out of the game here. But of course, with Wrath of the Great Mother, she'll be able to mosey herself way back on in. And then we've seen the 2 Force being refreshed from the Force user wound. So it's going to be Savage coming in now. And I think what we could do is Savage could, of course, just be a second body on that point here, which, considering we've got 2 Force online for, I think, Secrets Uncovered is what we just said. Yep, Secrets Uncovered. I think it's probably the best to put another body on that point just to prevent Grand Inquisitor drawing it and taking it off Ace. But we do need a big swing turn here with Savage, and I'm not sure if Savage is the character to do so. We could and should probably go up into the center here to try and get a wound on the Inquisitor, and of course we've got no Force, so that is a shame. So I don't think Savage is actually going to be able to get anywhere with a single move, because he only has a dash, but unfortunately Ace has no Force left. So we're just going to see a move. We've got no ranged attack, and we're just doing some... Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to actually use that Ingress point. He's going to try, but there's probably nowhere where Savage can be placed, considering he will have some slight overlap. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try our darn hardest and see if we can get there. Big one. Hi guys, total Shatterpoint noob, but must be early in Sydney. This is a special event. Hey, yeah, big one. It is a special event and it's incredibly early in Sydney. So it's before 5 o'clock, but this is the top 4 of the elimination round of the first season of our Shatterpoint League. It's a global Shatterpoint League on TTS. So yeah, it is a special event, and I thought that I would try and record, especially considering that the Sydney City Space Lugs for Shatterpoint haven't had a chance to stream two international players. We've always had an Australian plus someone else. So this is a very exciting time, and I thought we definitely wanted to do it. And bed can always be gotten back into. So after the game, I'll probably get a few more hours of sleep and have an enjoyable Sunday. But yeah, look, I'm glad a Shatterpoint noob is watching. You should, welcome to the community. It's an absolutely fantastic game, and we really, really love it. And I hope you enjoy the stream. And of course, anyone in the chat, if you have any feedback or want to talk about the game, go ahead. We'll try and make it the best experience for you as possible. So the last activation here, guys, is of course the Grand Inquisitor. We do want to get a 4th point, but I don't think we're going to be able to. The only way that we could is potentially displacing Maul there and taking that point, which would give you the struggle win. Or we could get a wound. But considering the fact that, Savage is a tank, he's got 10 health, protection and steadfast at all times. The Grand Inquisitor won't be able to do that. The best thing, or the best hope, is probably maybe the Shadow Hunters. The Night Sisters getting a wound there with a bit of a spike. But I would have liked maybe to see just a move and a lightsaber throw for a potential cheeky push. But looks like Grand Inquisitor doesn't even have that on his combat tree, so ignore me. We've flipped into Form 2 Makashi. No, we were always in Form 2 Makashi. But if we do flip the card, we might... Let me just see. I think I can Alt-Shift it. Hang on. No, that just turns it upside down. That is Gemso though, and there's a first success push. So I would probably risk it, because if you get it, let's say Grand Inquisitor placed himself about here. If he got the push on Maul, then you win the struggle. I know it's unlikely with only 4 dice, but that's the play that I probably would have made. But maybe we're looking at drawing out the struggle and getting a little bit more force. Okay. All right, so we've gone into Savage, who will be blocking. Wow, that's a great roll from Great Inquisitor, actually. But we're going into Savage, who will be blocking 4 and also getting a jump with his 2 expertise, which is really, really good, unless the Grand Inquisitor can pin him somehow, which he will be able to on 2 successes. So we're going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So nearly a full wound on Savage there, but thanks to Protection and Steadfast, he will max out at 9. So yeah, absolutely savage roll from the Grand Inquisitor, and of course the jump will be prevented by the pin. So no swings in terms of objectives from Ace. So that's another reason why, you know, going into Savage is a little dangerous. Had Savage have gotten the jump and not been pinned there, he would have been able to come up into the center and take the objective. So I think I would have gone for a cheeky try there with putting Grand Inquisitor, you know, next to this objective or contesting it from the ground floor, and then throwing my lightsaber and hoping for a 1 success push, which would have won me the struggle, or won Kevin the struggle. That's probably how I would have played it, but that was a great result. We've got a lot of damage into Savage, so yeah. I don't know why I thought they got all the way down the tree. What's 5 expertise? Let's have a look. 5 expertise is 2 crits and a damage. Okay, so basically we got... Oh yeah, so we only got 3 crits altogether. So ignore me. Yep. So I think the lightsaber throw, given it unlikely, I understand, but there's the chance to win the struggle there, where it's very unlikely, in fact impossible to win the struggle by going after Savage. But we are still in a very commanding position for Kevin. So yeah. It's looking likely that he wins the first struggle, and of course that is a deck refresh for both players. This next activation will be a deck refresh for the players. No, both players have deck refreshed. Yes, because Ace was the first player. We've drawn the Night Sisters, we put them in reserve, and then we've drawn the Super Mandalorian Commandos, which is a good result here. We'll probably be able to put some pressure on the characters in the center. We'll definitely be able to go for the Inquisitor, the 5th brother. Probably going to be able to wound him as well, in fact, with the Mandalorian Super Commandos. They're just really fantastic at getting the damage in and the conditions in against enemy characters. And we're going to probably do a cheeky little move here to trigger Mandalorians are stronger together, and potentially deal or smack 2 birds with 1 stone here. I would be tempted to get a jump and try and deal with the 5th brother, but there might not be enough room. But that's something that I would definitely try to get. It would be a jump up. We could take the center objective and potentially also take the objective down here from Vader, because they do have some nifty little pushes if they get far enough down their tree. So we'll see what happens. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. Sorry, the camera just went a little crazy there. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. It's been a lovely time. We're still in the first struggle, so it's been a relatively long first struggle, and I have a feeling it'll be a relatively quick struggles 2 and 3. But yeah, if you have any feedback or requests, please let us know, or if you just want to jump in the chat and say who you're going for and what you want to win, that'd be fantastic. Big one subscribed to us a while ago for X-Wing. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I completely agree. I no longer play X-Wing, but absolutely loving Shatterpoint and also loving streaming it as well. Okay, so we've got 8 dice being loaded in here, and I think it's either going to be Rex or Vader. We might be able to get 2 here, but Rex is not damaged. But let's see. So 8 into Vader first. Okay, that's a great roll. So it's going to be 4 hits, 2 crits, thanks to the expertise, but also 6 blocks from Vader is pretty savage. So it'll be 2 crits going through onto Vader, which probably isn't what we were hoping for. We can disarm Vader, which is pretty nice, and also strain him to prevent him getting super aggressive, which would be good. And then the other Mandalorian Commando is taking some damage from riposte. So Vader's done a riposte for free there because of the fail. And we've got another 8 dice going into Vader, which is a much better roll here. So that's, I think, let's have a look. That is going to be, yep, so it's going to be 3 crits, 4 hits, which is savage. And we're going to have 4 blocks from Vader. So 3 crits going through, which will be... Let's have a look. We could get a jump. Yeah, so we're going to have the bottom track being taken here. I'm not entirely sure if we decided to go disarm or strain on Vader. We can find out in a second. But we've decided to get the jump in there to take the point off of Vader, which is good. Let's have a look. So yeah, we did the disarm in the first Mandalorian attack, and then we did the strain in the second. So Vader's also been wounded, which is nice. But he will be able to do his strike back attack for 5 dice with his the Sith Lord strikes back. So 1 force, Vader can do a dash and of course a 5 dice attack, but he will be disarmed. So probably not hoping for a whole bunch here on the Mandalorians, unless we get very lucky. And we got pretty lucky, no expertise, so the disarm did nothing. So 3 crits are going to go through, which is, yeah, that's brutal. 3 crits on Vader is going to be, on this side, 5 damage and an expose or a pin. So that's a good little strike back. And that actually will wound the Mandalorian commandos, I think, because of the riposte. Oh, no, they're 1 away. Wow, that could have been very bad. That could have been very bad for Kevin there. For Ace. It was very close to getting fully wounded there off their own attack. But that's why you don't mess with the big dog like Vader, you know? You do not mess with a big dog like Vader. But yeah, we'll still take that point, and it'll be 3 points taken back by Ace, which will put him on another momentum. And we'll, yeah, trying to fight for this first struggle here valiantly. But Kevin is a 4-point swing away from taking the struggle. But if he doesn't, you know, we might actually see this come back here to bite him, which would be really interesting. So very excited to see what we pull next for Kevin. And yeah. And if we can get the struggle win by Ace, it'll be very exciting. So let's see what we pull. Let's see what we pull. And of course, we can't get any more momentum from Ace. We're completely flushed out. So very, very cool. So the ARFs are probably not what we want to see unless we can use them to get some extra points, which we can actually. So this ARF can just wake up, be there, go over there and take the point. And that will give us, okay, so that'll only give us 3. So we also need to get a wound, which we can do by getting 1 damage on these Mandalorians at ranged, and they do not like getting shot at ranged. So that is probably the play, in my opinion. We do a shot first, and then we do just a move or a defensive maneuver or maybe a take cover, just to prevent them spending too much force, because now that they're wounded, their defensive maneuver will, of course, cost 2. So I would wake up the ARFs. I would shoot the Mandalorian Super Commandos who only have 1 damage left, and that will score 3 plus the wound, which would win the struggle. That'd be how I do it. And we'll see if Kevin decides to do the same. I think we are having that being the play. I think the shot first is good, and then we can, if we do wound them, of course, go shoot something else. So 7 dice. It's a great block from the Mandos. 4 blocks, but we did get the lucky crit go through there, which is going to be enough to, of course, wound the Mandalorian commandos. So good try from the Mandos, but not quite enough. And yeah, that will be the struggle win because of the momentum. And we've got control in the center here with the 5th brother. He's standing on top of the objective, and the ARF troopers can basically just control the center objectives here. And yeah, so we've had Wrath of the Great Mother trigger. She won't be able to get into range of this objective, unfortunately, and of course she won't be able to attack this ARF trooper either, simply because she won't have the range to do so. And now we've had the other ARF trooper deciding who to attack. I'd probably go into, Savage, maybe put some pins on him again, because he is also strained, so condition washing him would be nice. to control his mobility a little bit. And, you know, if you get lucky, maybe you spike and do enough damage. But you could also maybe put some conditions on Mother Talzin. Even though she's wounded, you could put a pin on her. But we're rolling 5 dice, so I'll confirm who this is later. But we've got some decent rolls coming in here from the ARF Troopers. 4 expertise, I think, is 2 crits. It is cheeky. So we won't get a lot going through. We'll probably just get the 2 crits going through. But then we can just follow up with a move. Yep. And take the back objective here as well. And we're putting ourselves right next to the wall for a bit of a body block, which is good to prevent him getting pushed off and displaced, etc. And that will be, despite a very hard-fought struggle, that will be a victory for Kevin in struggle number 1. So I'll preemptively, unless something crazy happens, I'm going to preemptively load up the struggle card up the top. So you can see here, guys, I have just loaded in a picture underneath the struggles 1 of the struggle card. So that'll just indicate that, yeah, we've got 1 struggle 1 for Kevin and 0 for Ace at this stage. But we've got a really good struggle map for Kevin, I think. It is we're going to need a new exit. Real good struggle map for Ace in we're going to need a new exit. But unfortunately, we've got 0 back line captors here. So all of our characters are in the center, and we won't actually be able to start the game off with any control. So I wonder what we do take. I mean, if we've... Yep, okay. So unfortunately, this ARF Trooper is going to have control of the objective straight away. So with some lucky priority rolls, this actually could be quite advantage for Kevin because he's starting off the game, you know, with the struggle with a struggle token in hand. So we'll see what we get and who we draw. The Night Sisters might be what we need to do and just pull them back. So they could do, of course, a jump out of combat and take 1 objective each, which is probably what I would think about doing. We're rolling priority first. We are rolling priority first. We're not sure who we've got first. But yeah, I think given the fact that we can start with the Night Sisters, I would start with the Night Sisters. They are not wounded. So, you know, they're not going to be too expensive. They're not going to be too much of a force tax on your force. So yeah, I would pull them out. I would jump them and I would take both of these backline objectives just to make sure that, you know, I don't fall behind too much, but unfortunately the role is, of course, Kevin's objective here. So we'll see what happens. I would still go with the Night Sisters, or we could get a push onto this ARF Trooper, and yeah, looks like we are deciding to go with the Night Sisters, and I think that's the best play. So we could attack the ARF Troopers for a push, which would be a second tile push here. Which is probably likely. You know, you've got a decent a number of dice with the Night Sisters, especially if characters are engaged with other Night Sisters. But we're actually going both Night Sisters for this objective. I don't love that. I think I'd rather get an objective spread here, just to make sure that you gain as many points immediately as possible. But I understand putting as many bodies on a point is also a good shout as well. So we've got the first Night Sister going into this ARF Trooper, 6 dice, and we've got a pretty good roll. We've got 6 hits into 3 blocks. So 3 going through, which is of course going to be enough for that shove that we were wanting, which will be allowing the Night Sister to actually follow up and potentially even get a cheeky little engagement here as well if we want it, to make the other Night Sisters attack even better. But 3, so we get 3 down the line. So we'll probably do a pin and an expose, 3 damage and a shove, which, let's have a look at the card, we did exactly do. So that was the rear Night Sister. So I wonder if we just shoot someone else here. We don't need to go for the ARF Trooper, but we could to potentially wound them. And I think we are going for them. Yeah, we're going for the ARF Trooper. So 4 expertise. So 3 blocks, 4 expertise from the Night Sister. 4 expertise is a crit and 2 hits. So altogether, it is 4. It's just going to be 1 crit going through, unfortunately, which isn't enough, but it will be another 2 damage into this ARF Trooper because they're already pinned. Okay. Okay, yeah, so I think I would have rather do the move here, or yeah. So both Night Sisters started the turn up on top of this objective on either side of the fifth brother. I would have preferred, I think, going for one Night Sister for this objective and one Night Sister for a rear objective, and just getting that one success push to score two. But we decided to go for both Night Sisters on here, and I think we only did one action, or potentially we did a take cover. Or we just moved because we were engaged, and then we did a shot. Okay, fair enough. We could have done a jump, we could have done a shot, and then we could have moved. I think would have been my preferred play there, but yeah, I'm sure. I mean, look, I am not in the top four, so I'm sure Ace has a plan here for sure. So let's see what we've pulled. We've pulled Rex, so he's going to use Get a Move on Soldier probably on himself. No need to use it on Vader anymore because he's already in the thick of things and doesn't need hunker tokens, which is just going to be immediately removed. But we are going to go for Rex. We've got a Not So Fast coming in here from Django, and we got, looks like 2 damage into Rex to make it a little bit harder for him to make his turn. But Rex, as soon as he gets hunkers, thanks to Bring It On Clankers, is going to be able to start doing some heals. So, yeah. All right. And this is, of course, the priority objective down here. So I don't know if I would have done a Not So Fast on I think he was completely healthy, but now he's got 2 damage. But all Rex needs is 2 hunker tokens to get that damage completely removed. What we could see here is, so instead of using it on Rex, we're actually using Get a Move on Soldier on Barris. I think we'll be able to get into contest range there, and we'll of course be able to prevent the Night Sisters from getting any hunker tokens of their own. And we will see Rex move. He is engaged, so he'll only be able to do a dash. So we might be able to see a dash here with a move, and then maybe a take cover and a defensive maneuver, which will prevent Rex taking any damage from No Mercy off of these Mandalorian Super Commandos. But what are we deciding to do? So the Mandalorian Super Commando is a trick for anyone that isn't familiar. So No Mercy, basically if a character starts engaged and then does a advance or a dash, if they end up outside of range, then they'll take 2 damage, but jumps and take covers, etc. will of course circumvent that. So there are ways to get around this. What Rex could do is do his defensive maneuver, and then he could do a take cover potentially to get out of range there. So all of his resources would of course be put into not doing any attacking, but you're pretty flush with control over this side, unless you maybe want to wound Django, which is definitely not a bad shout either. So we could instead see some attacks into Django. We've seen a damage being removed because of the hunker. The hunker is of course not going to be put on just because they're engaged, which is interesting. I wonder if you can even gain the hunker if you're engaged to heal the damage. I don't think you can, but alas, here we are. So we've taken 2 damage off of Rex to do a big attack into Django. Django's blocked 3, and Rex has scored 5 because his 2 expertise convert into 2 hits. Sorry, 6. So it'll be 3 down the track. Django is 2 away from getting wounded, and we are doing that now on Rex. So I'm not sure if we've done top or bottom. It looks like we've done top tree because we got 3 and we needed 3 damage, I think. Yep, so 5 damage and an expose onto Django. That'll be the wound, but that'll also be Mother Talzin coming in, and she will be able to use Wrath of the Great Mother if they're not engaged here, but that's close. I would measure that because she can only do it in ranged, not melee. Rex is going to block 2, and Mother Talzin is going to get a whopping 6 down to 4. So that's a pretty good roll from Mother Talzin. She'll Yeah, so she can get 4 here, and the cheeky thing, what we can do is we can go the disarm, the heal, the active ability, and then the strain. We can put the strain on, and then because the active ability happens at the last step in the combat tree, we can actually use the strain to trigger off of the manipulating hand to deal another 3 damage. So what we could actually do here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage by moving Rex and using the strain, etc. So that is pretty savage, and we'll see what is happening. I think they might have realized that, yeah, there's actually no chance for Mother Talzin to roll just because they're engaged, and it is only a ranged attack. So no damage into Rex after that, which I think, yeah, that makes sense. Or did we get damage into Rex? He's on 6? 7? I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Sorry, guys, I missed it. Maybe we went for 2, 4, 6. Yeah, so they did 6 damage, but no manipulating hand trigger. Oh, of course, sorry. You can't use a tactical ability when it is not your turn. Apologies. So just 6 damage from the Great Mother. Okay, so we've Shatterpointed for Ace. The objective is this one, which is good. Looks like we're probably going to use Great Mother here. We've used Obscuring Shadows to move Maul onto this rear point objective. And we will see what happens. So that's going to be 2, 3 points. So this could be a big swing. This could be a 4 turn if we go into Rex, which we are with Mother Talzin. So this is a chance for Ace to actually score 5 here, which is pretty good. We are getting 5 expertise, which is 2 crits, a hit, and a damage, which should be enough to get Rex off of this objective and wounded, which will be a 5-point swing for Ace. So that'll put him on 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'll be 2 away from the struggle win there. So really good swing turn, and the power of Obscuring Shadows and Maul's positioning there is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it's going to be a 3 struggle game, I would say, guys, and that is incredibly exciting and exactly what you want from a top 4. So we'll see what we get. Now, of course, we do want to abandon both players' back left objectives because they're never active in the 3rd struggle. So basically, if we can keep Rex, like Ace wants to keep Rex around that point with manipulating hand, etc., and just make him a little bit harder to get into the fight. And of course, after this activation and after this objective is scored, I would say that Mother Talzin probably wants to evacuate this point as soon as possible, which she definitely can do thanks to Wrath of the Great Mother. So good play, and I would like to see them leave the back left. And of course, Kevin has nothing on back left anyway, so he is fine for struggle 3 and all set up. The middle objective has, I think, a 66% chance of being active in struggle 3. So good positioning there from the Inquisitor. And yeah, we're just using manipulating hand there for free from the combat tree to essentially make Rex's life a little bit harder. I would like to see Wrath get flipped into Great Mother for a little bit more defensive shenanigans, but we've decided to leave it, probably in preparation or anticipation of Vader coming in and trying to attack. And there we go, we're 2 points away for a struggle win on Ace. Okay. So we've pulled the 5th brother, and we've decided to put him in reserve promptly, just to stay there. I'm not entirely sure if we've rolled for priority. I don't think we have. Or maybe it just stayed the same. No, we haven't rolled for it yet, I don't think. Here we go. Oh, it's over here. What have we rolled? We'll see what they do. I won't drag the camera around too much. We will see what they do. Okay, so that's the back objective, is the active one. And now we've got to decide whether or not we want to go with the 5th brother. Okay, so we've got a not so fast coming in, which is, which actually could just end his activation before it starts. So we need to get 3 damage here, or 3 successes from not so fast. And we don't. Oh, only 1 damage. That's a sad result for Ace there. That would have been a good turn. Sorry, a good swing. It would have given him 2 force back, and it would have healed 2 as well, which is good for removing some conditions like pin and expose off of these wounded units over here. So that's unlucky. 3 is the average that you would expect on 5 dice. So yeah, bit of a shame there for Ace, but he's got the struggle in the bag. Though having 1 force going into struggle 3 and being pretty shallow on the deck as well, I think is potentially a problem. I can't see how many activations we've had because I don't have the numbers showing up on my screen. But yeah, I think we're only 2nd or 3rd activation in struggle 3. Yeah, we had Night Sisters go, and then we had Towson go. So this is 3rd activation, and we've only unfortunately got 1 force left, which is going to mean that 5th Brother is in not dire straits, but he's not really going to be able to affect much. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong character. So 5th Brother, I feel like you want to just sort of keep him in the middle, but you also want to attack. I think what I would do here is, I mean, he wants to go for Maul, and that makes sense because Maul is holding the priority objective. So what we could do is have a move. We could then do maybe an attack into Savage and get some wounds in there. Savage is on 5 plus a strain, so we could do that, and then we could of course just walk over to this objective to take it off of Maul, because they'd be on the same elevation as the objective. So that looks like it was a jump. We're just getting the force spending correct here, and then we're going to have an attack, I would say, into Savage, and then maybe even a move afterwards. Could do a force repulse, but probably a little hungry. And I think if you're Kevin, you probably want to make sure that you just got as many resources as possible for struggle 3. Yeah, it is. Sorry, Aman. It is indeed the 5th Brother. I will actually change that. Thanks for pointing that out. Don't know what happened. Let me fix that up. Okay, just doing this now. 5th Brother was just posing as a Republic Commando. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, we are back online. All right, so I think we've done an attack into Savage. Yep, absolutely. Savage is going to block 2, and we've got probably enough to get the wound on Savage with a 6. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. So we've got 6 successes into 2. So that'll be 4 successes down the tree, and we need 6 damage to go through, which isn't enough. Okay, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 5 total, which will go down to 4 after protection and steadfast, because you need to get to that last tile, of course, to get the wound in. We didn't take 2 damage to roll 2 extra dice, which is fair enough. We could have healed it off though, but now what we could do, is there any way that we can get a cheeky wound here on Savage? We can't enfeeble. We can't force repulse. Yep. Okay. So no, there's no cheeky way to get the last wound. But what we will be able to do is just use our 2nd action to move over and take the point here as well. So yep. Okay. So I would still move over. Unfortunately, I think we get a free force repulse there, so I'm surprised that we're not pushing maybe Savage just into the Grand Inquisitor, because it is a way. You could just sort of basically body block Savage into the Grand Inquisitor there to make sure that he's not contesting an objective in struggle 3, and then you could use your last action to move over and take the point off of Maul. And of course, guys, the reason that we are able to take the point off Maul is because he is at the same elevation. But we didn't do it. Looks like Kevin has just decided to cede control of the 2nd struggle to Ace and not fight for it, and potentially end the struggle as soon as possible to make Ace go into the third struggle with only one force, which is it's definitely a play. It's definitely a play. So trying to end the struggle as soon as possible, which is all but guaranteed now that Kevin didn't score any points, which means that there's going to be a limited resources from Ace in struggle 3, which is definitely going to help Kevin's cause here. And let's have a look at the objective spread while we decide what to go for Ace. So we have a pretty good chance of both all of these 3 center objectives being in play. This one is not controlled by anyone, which is probably what Maul is going to want to do just to put some pressure on. The center is not controlled currently, but hotly contested by a lot of players, characters. And I probably would have, for that reason, maybe left the 5th brother in the center there, because he's got a high chance of course, being picked, and I don't think that he'll be within range 2. And of course, this is hotly contested, but everyone over here is wounded. So the middle is sort of up for anyone really at the moment. Back left, Kevin has wisely abandoned because it is never active in struggle 3, and on the other side, the back left of Ace, we do have Mother Talzin. But she had to do that to get a big 4-point swing. I would say to keep the struggle in Ace's hands, and that has worked. So she'll be able to evacuate that point momentarily in struggle 3. So we're deciding what to go for. Looks like we've got a saber throw going into a character here. I'm not entirely sure who it is, but we're probably going to be able to put an exposed token on them. Let's see how many dice we roll. We'd probably... Not sure. 6 dice. I think we're going for the Grand Inquisitor. Grand Inquisitor. So probably not going to be able to do much into the Grand Inquisitor. That wasn't a fantastic roll. I think it's probably just going to equate to 1 crit. And Champagne 1992, thanks so much for the follow. Really, really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the content. And many more to come. Very excited to be streaming the final game. I wonder if that's... So definitely don't go for this objective because it's never active. Don't do it, Maul. Okay, so Maul's going to go down here. Unfortunately, that's not going to be much use, just considering that this objective is never active in struggle 3. So we will see what happens and what we pull. Okay. So I've actually abandoned like 2 really, potential good objectives here for an objective that is never active. I'm not sure what the logic there is. Maybe he just wants to keep Maul a bit safe and drag players out of the middle to sort of be forced into dealing with him or shutting him down. Okay, so this is the new struggle map. We've got Blast Our Way Out, and of course Kevin is going to be able to choose. So let's have a think. So Kevin already has control. No, so Ace has control of this back objective. No one has control of the Vader objective, and no one has control of the top left objective either, which is the one over here. So that's not fantastic for either player. What would be the best? What do you guys reckon? What's the best sort of objective layout to choose? What can you affect mostly? Okay, we've decided to go for this objective. I'll just sort of do it like that, and like this, and like this. So this is the objective layout. Or if we are a bit smarter about this, sorry, it's too early in the morning. Blast Our Way Out, we've chosen the bottom objective there. So yeah, that is that. Okay. So probably, unless we're having more of a think, that's just what was pinged by the player. So that is an interesting choice. So we've got nothing in reserve for either player. So there's not a lot that I can sort of anticipate here. The only thing that we can say is that Maul has just been used, and he wasn't able to get any damage on, or maybe only 1 or 2 damage onto the Grand Inquisitor there. So yes. He must have gotten 2 successes, which is 4 damage, 5 damage because of the expertise, and a reposition, which is why he's decided to go over here, and why, of course, we've got 5 damage on the Grand Inquisitor. So 2 successes off Maul is just chef's kiss, isn't it? I absolutely love Maul. He's one of the best his combat tree blows my mind. Like, it genuinely blows my mind how amazing it is. Let's just look at it in awe, huh? Let's just do that. My goodness. That is just a thing of beauty, isn't it? A thing of beauty. Okay. So we've chosen the objective layout, which is going to be, as we said, the bottom of the two. So this one. On Blast Our Way Out, and we are pulling Barriss. Okay, so we've got a playmaker up first. I wonder if we put her in reserve. We probably don't have enough force. No, we have to roll priority first. Okay, so it is the one that is controlled by Ace at this stage, because he's got the Night Sister there. Sorry, I will take that back. It's currently contested by both players because they've got one character each. So what we could do is I probably would pull Barriss, and I'd probably do an attack and just think about where we could go with maybe some force pushes, etc. But I think what we do is just go with Barriss, maybe expose the Night Sisters and thwack them. We could really cause some havoc. Barriss's expertise tree and combat tree is absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look at this. So she's got 4 pushes and repositions, and she's got a potential free force trigger as well. So she hits really hard when she gets into play. And the trade-off there is she's really quite fragile, and she's a force tax as well, because she has a lot of abilities that go off force. So I think, given that it's struggle 3, and given that you want to get as many points as possible, I would probably just rip the band-aid off and go for gold on these Night Sisters. I'd probably try and wound them if possible. And I would just, So it looks like we're going to do a coordinated fire expose. That's what the force cost was. So coordinated fire expose onto the Night Sisters, which is smart because they do have a reposition on their defensive expertise tree, and you can't really afford, to have them reposition into play and contest the objective better. We are taking 2 extra damage on Barriss to try and roll as many as possible here, which is, I think, a good play to try and maybe even get a free force push trigger. So 10 dice from Barriss. How good's that? And a 1 block from the Night Sisters. That'll be a full tree for Barriss for sure, because 4 expertise is 1 crit, 2 hits. So really, really good roll there. So what are we going to do? I'd probably use the reposition on Barriss to get her. Can we do 7 damage? 2, 3, 4, 5. We can only do 6 damage. Okay, so we can push this Night Sister out into oblivion. I would say. That'll make sure that they can't come to the party in terms of contesting this objective. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe taking the 2 damage there wasn't particularly wise, just because you couldn't get the wound on the Night Sisters anyway, because they have 7. So I probably wouldn't have taken it. If you're not looking for the free force push anyway, then there's not much need to do the extra damage, because Barriss, I should say, she gets pushes, so early in the tree. So if you're going to already coordinated fire, there might not be that much need for it. But anyway, here we are. They're only 1 health away from being wounded, which makes them a very good target, for future in the struggle. But it also means that Barriss is a lot closer to being wounded as well. So she's already lost 25% of her health for a full tree that doesn't get you much. Like, I think, you can just push this Night Sister around, but you haven't made coordinated fire any more expensive or anything like that. Anyway, it's okay. They were wounded. Maybe they already had a damage on them. Confused. Because they are taking in the wound. So if that's the case, I take it all back. If you had the opportunity to wound the Night Sisters, I would have taken it. No, it was a misclick. They're not wounded. Yeah. Okay, ignore me. So we'll see what happens. We did get 2 points scored from from Kevin, because he has got control of the priority objective, and looks like we're just going to use the remaining movement or remaining action to come in and engage both these Night Sisters, which is a good thing. The reason that you'd want to engage, guys, is because there's a few things for Barriss from Slipaway. So when she's engaged and another Galactic Republic unit targets... okay, we're also seeing a force push. I mean, we get it for free, so why not? Sorry, I'll go back to this. So Slipaway, when another Galactic Republic unit targets a character that this character is engaged with, she essentially gets to reposition and gains a hunker, which is good. And of course, it can buff other Jedi units, but we don't have any other Jedi units. We only have fallen Jedi units. Okay, and that's a 2-point swing. And here we go with Savage. So Savage's first action is undoubtedly going to have to be a recover. Otherwise, he'll just unfortunately drop because of the strain. But we haven't chosen a priority objective as of yet, I don't think. Okay, so we're putting Savage into reserve, which means we've got no force left, unfortunately. And Django is definitely a unit that you want to have force on. He can, of course, get some free triggers, but yeah, that is unfortunate to not have any force left this early on in the struggle. Okay, so what are we going to do with Django? It's hard for me to make a play line if we haven't determined the priority objective. So hopefully they roll for that soon, unless it is staying the same. I'm not entirely sure. So if it is staying the same, then what we probably want to do is a move and then a shot. So unfortunately, we won't have the time or the action resources to do a focus, but we can do a move here. We can have a crack maybe at these ARF troopers to get a free force trigger, which might be able to mean that we can eventually get a pull, a capture wire on Barriss and displace her off this objective. So let's see what we're going for. Looks like we are going for the ARF troopers here. Yep, with 6 dice into 4. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's a pretty good roll from Django. So 2 crits are going to go through. Sorry, 3 successes are going to go through because 2 expertise only become 1 block. So 3, which will be enough for a free trigger. So I think if we've put ourselves within range 3 of Barriss, I'd definitely use a capture wire. How far away are these ARFs? Yeah, so you could do 3 damage to the ARF troopers from the first 2 successes, and then you can do a capture wire onto Barriss, which would pull her off the objective. But none of what we're doing here scores us points outside of gaining momentum. So let's see what we decide to do. We are getting the wound in. And we're deciding to jump instead. Oh, I'm so sorry. There is an objective here as well. I totally skipped on that. So yeah, there will be a momentum and we will score this one. Unfortunately, it will only be a momentum and of course another momentum for the wound. And let's roll the priority. Let's see what we get. Diamond, so it's this one back here. And let's see what we pull. Okay, Darth Vader. All right, so Darth Vader's all the way over here. So he can do it. He could do a take cover. He could then do a move, and then he could do a Vader's Fury, and he'd probably be able to get over there. The reason that I say take cover first, guys, is because the first move will be blocked or restricted by Django because they're engaged. But I wonder if we put him in reserve, and we have. Okay, and then we've pulled the Shatterpoint straight away. So with the Shatterpoint for Kevin, we could just use Fifth Brother. We could do a cheeky wound on Savage, which would get some Inquisitorius models healed, because Savage is, of course, a Force user, which would trigger Grand Inquisitor and things like that. We could also just heal himself. Okay, so I wonder what we're playing for here. Kevin is abandoning the objective back here, unless we're going with Grand Inquisitor off the Shatterpoint. Okay, interesting. Grand Inquisitor is not a bad shout because he's fairly tanky. He could probably get the wound on Savage here because we only need 1 success. Unless Grand Inquisitor's combat tree... Please don't tell me it only has 1 damage on the first tile. No. Okay. So we're going to need 2 successes on the Grand Inquisitor to circumvent Savage's um, 1 damage. But I lie, actually, because if Grand Inquisitor decides to attack Savage, we could get really cheeky and just get out an Enfeeble, because the Enfeeble will just do a damage straight to Savage, and it doesn't even get added to the damage pool. It's just a damage, which is basically a way to circumvent protection, which is really good. So I would definitely do that to get the free wound on Savage for a momentum, and of course then seeing how far we can get down the combat tree and get the reposition for that objective up the back. So let's see what we end up deciding to do. We could also go for the Night Sisters, absolutely, but that doesn't give you the heals, etc. But no, we are going, ooh, both of them have 4, so I can't tell you. I don't know. We'll have to see where the damage goes and what combat tree we decide to take with the Grand Inquisitor. Is it going to be Form 4 Gemso or is it going to be Makashi? Form 4 Gemso definitely gives you a much, much better expertise tree. So I do like that one. Let's see where we go. 4 dice. We have no expose coming in from 5th Brother, I don't think. And that'll be enough to deal with either of the units, even though we didn't do an expose. So I have a feeling we're going into the Night Sisters here, to be honest, and that's probably because we want to shut down the coordinated fire for free. Especially considering Ace no longer has any force, and that's exactly what we're going for. But we could have gone a cheeky play with the Enfeeble into Savage to get the wound, but I guess that also turns his turn wide on because he'll be able to remove the expose because he's getting attacked, and then at the beginning of his activation he'll be able to remove the strain, and he is of course in reserve. So there it is. Okay, so we're pushing them away. I think we're going to get far enough down the tree to get the reposition, and the reposition, of course, is not slowed down by our engaged. So he can just reposition all the way over to that point, and there it is. So yep. We will be able to heal 2 as well, and looks like we're healing 2 off of the Grand Inquisitor because he took 2 damage. So I probably wouldn't have taken 2 damage there just because you only needed to do 1 damage to these Night Sisters. And he does have a crit on a single... No, he doesn't. But they only had 4 damage. They only had 4 defense dice. I probably wouldn't have taken 2 there because you would have been able to get him down to 3 health instead of 5. But alas, we score 3 points, and he should score a momentum as well because he did get the wound. I might... that is a mandatory trigger, guys, so I'm just going to remind the players about the momentum. So it was Kevin's turn. So I've just shot a message over to get that done as well, because he should get a momentum. That is, of course, a mandatory trigger for wounding the unit, and there it is. Yep, so they put it on. Great. So we've pulled Mother Talzin, and this is where Mother Talzin can, of course... So Mother Talzin should have used Wrath of the Great Mother there for a start. I think she is doing that now. That isn't a mandatory trigger though, so Kevin's nicely allowed him to sneak that one in, despite having already drawn her order card. But alas, now we're using Obscuring Shadows, this card, Obscuring Shadows, to move Savage closer to the Grand Inquisitor, and that of course will wound Savage because Savage had a strain, and that of course will get Kevin another momentum. So now we're moving with Mother Talzin, and we will be attacking into the Grand Inquisitor, I would say. And that's decent because we still will be able to mosey on our way over with all the pushes. And I'd hope that we go and flip into Great Mother, and we have. Yep, okay. So we're going to attack into the Grand Inquisitor. No expose because we don't have any force. So the Grand Inquisitor has a really nice expertise tree, but he didn't get that good. Let's have a look. So he's blocked. He's got 2 expertise, so he didn't even get the beautiful converts there. So he's only blocked 2, unfortunately. So the Great Mother's going to get a good lot of damage in there, probably getting the wound, and she's probably going to be able to push herself over onto the point. So let's just see. I'm going to try and do some quick head math. So we've got 1 crit, 2 crits, 4 hits, so 6, and we've blocked 2. So we're going to get 4 through. So not enough to get to that reposition, but we will get enough to go for 3 pushes, which is enough to get Mother Talzin over onto this point by following up. I probably would have been a little bit more careful with that angle. The box would have been able to overlap the base, so you'd probably have to go steeper, but either way, it's a guaranteed that Mother Talzin could get on with some careful push placement, especially with 3 pushes. I probably wouldn't go all the way in, just because Great Mother triggers are very good, but probably wanting to keep her safe as well, and hassling the Grand Inquisitor, and that will score Ace 3 points and a momentum. Okay, so edging closer to the end of the game here. Yep. So both players need 5 points to get the W, basically. So let's. I can hear the dice rolling for the priority objective, and we'll see what we get. It is going to be the rear one, which is already controlled by Kevin, and we will see what happens. So Kevin needs to take a point. Kevin won't be able to win the turn or the game this turn. So this is where we get into that. You need to break the cycle. Or break the wheel, as the great Khaleesi would say. You need to basically have your opponent make a mistake, or you prevent them taking an objective off you, which swings the amount of points scored each turn. And I wonder if Vader is the man to do it. Vader would be able to definitely get Barriss here, which is actually a really good shout, and I think I would do that considering how fragile she is. So he'd be able to get a momentum, which would put him on 5, and then he would score 3 points, which would put him on 4 and 1 away. And I think I would do that. I think that's the play for me, especially if you've got Vader in reserve. You get a Great Mother trigger, which won't amount to much because of how far away she is, needing to contest that objective. So yeah, I don't think... Yeah, so we've pulled Vader. We have pulled Vader. And I think the move on Maul, let's say instead of moving Savage, if Maul was still placed on this center objective up here, instead of doing the reposition to get this back left objective, had he have stayed, then Obscuring Shadows could be used on Maul to start contesting some points, which is really spicy. But unfortunately, yeah, guys, good thing to remember that bottom left objective in player's deployment zone, i.e., where Maul is and where Rex is for each player, are never active in Struggle 3. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. All right, what have we got? I know we've got some dice being loaded here. I wonder what we are going with. Well, I know we've pulled Vader, and I think the only thing to do... Oh, okay, maybe we're going for Django. It's too early. I'm so sorry, guys. Vader and Barriss are, of course, on the same team. So, yeah, we're going for Django, going for the wound on Django, and trying to get him out of contention. He's already exposed, so that's really good, and we're taking some damage, and we're doing a focus swing into Django. Wow, no blocks. So, yeah, that is a wounded Django, and that is savage. So that's still going to be the same sort of result. We're going to have... 1 momentum and of course 3 points being scored by Kevin here. And yep, sorry guys, it's before 6 a.m. I got up before 4 o'clock to try and stream this game, so apologies if the commentary isn't 100% the whole time. I'm still trying to fire on all cylinders. So yeah, we've got a wounded Django, which is the important part, and that is essentially the same result as what I was thinking we could do against Barriss before I realized that they're on the same team. And sorry, I'm going to update the struggle cards as well. I will need to show you that. Yeah, so of course we've had 1 struggle won by each player. So you can see that under the struggles 1 token up the top. It's can be a bit challenging doing this by myself. So apologies if it wasn't clear. So yeah, that will put, of course, the struggle cube on Kevin's 4 slot and 1 momentum as well after scoring 3. So here we go. So how will Ace respond? We're going to have to try and get Vader off that point. It really comes down to where the primary objective is. It'll be a lucky break if the primary objective is on Mother Talzin's side, but it looks like, yep, it is. Okay, great. So who are we going to go with? Is it Savage? Okay, Savage is the last character in the pool, and unfortunately there's no Force. So Savage won't be able to do much except try and deal with maybe the 5th brother, and he won't be able to make it all the way over to Vader either. So we're just going to try and get some momentum, and that actually might be the game. Let's have a look. We're going to smack into 5th brother. Not having Force on these characters with only a single move is harsh. Looks like 1 too many dice rolled by the 5th. Oh no, he's got 6 dice in combat. So that's a good roll from Savage. So it's going to be 3 blocks and it's going to be 6 hits, I think, altogether. So it'll be 3 successes going through, which will definitely be enough to get the 5th brother. But that unfortunately will only be 2 points to Ace. And if Kevin... Okay, so if Kevin rolls priority Mother Talzin, then there's a chance that, of course, that that he doesn't win it the next turn. But we'll have to see what happens here. So we've got a momentum and 2 being scored, and another momentum for being on that side. So basically, what Ace is hoping for here is that the priority objective remains on Mother Talzin's objective. Which would mean that Kevin doesn't have an easy time of getting the wound. The win. But we'll see. It looks like it has remained on Mother Talzin's side, which is lucky because now we'll need to try and displace Mother Talzin with Grand Inquisitor. And so this could be the break that Ace needs. That was a really lucky struggle result for him, unless I'm wrong. Okay, so I think the priority objective was actually rolled as this one down here, and that will unfortunately be the win. I say unfortunately for Ace, that will be an inevitable win for Kevin. Okay, so the Grand Inquisitor and Vader have triumphed the day. So congratulations to Kevin for making it into the final. Great game, a great showing with the Galactic Empire here over the Dathomirians. I'll just update the struggle cards here, guys. So just for anyone that's tuning in late, we have had 2 struggle wins for Kevin and 1 struggle win for Ace, meaning that, of course, we have had Kevin make it through to the final of the TTS League, and he'll be facing up against Morgan's Vader and Dooku. Really good game, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you tuned in for the first time, thanks for the follows that we got today as well. I really appreciate it. I will be uploading this video onto YouTube shortly, so you can go and check that out. And I hope you enjoy the content. I'm always welcome or encouraging feedback. So if you have anything you'd like me to focus on or change, please let me know, and we'll get it ready for the final. Guys, all the best, and we'll see you in the TTS final. I'll be streaming with Aman from Hello There, Fame and Fortune. So that'll be a really exciting time, and it'll be an Aussie versus USA final. So we'll have an Aussie versus USA commentary, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see you then, and you've been watching the Sydney City Space Slugs, and can't wait to stream the final for you. See you guys. Bye-bye.